Friends, greetings, Helldivers! Today I wanna talk about some forgotten weapons. And I don't mean that they are underrated or have low pick rates. No, I mean the weapons that I genuinely keep forgetting they exist. There is not a lot of them compared to how many weapons we have, but there is still some. And while I'm on it, I will try to give them some buff to make them more appealing. Like, try to help them if there is actually a problem with them, and not just me forgetting them. Anyways, let's get started. We are off to a little bit bad start, as this is quite fresh gun, while most of the weapons in this video are rather old. I'm talking about the Gallant, and in fact, the Gallant itself isn't bad, I would say. The problem is, when this gun came out, I already had like 3 guns that are exactly like the Gallant, and slightly better. Also, they sound and look way better, especially the M7S. So not even the visuals would attract me to the Gallant. I simply don't need 4th the same gun, even though Gallant has medium armor penetration. But if you do not have Super Citizen, or you do not have any legendary warband and you don't want to buy them, the Gallant is, I guess, a fine alternative. There isn't really a problem with the gun itself, so I'm not offering any buff for it. The second SMG that I keep forgetting about would be the Pummeler, and it's a stun version of the Defender, but it doesn't have the Defender's damage, while also not really being a great stunning weapon like the Pacifier. I don't think there is anything really appealing about this one. Like I said, neither damage, neither a good stunning weapon, not even visuals or looks, as at that it's pretty mediocre. I also don't know how to really buff this one. I was thinking of medium penetration, but like, it would make it unfair compared to other SMGs, I think. So let's say just give it 15 more ammo per mag. I overall think that anyways utility guns should have better ammo economy than the lethal ones, so I would expect such gun for the Pacifier too, for example. And moving on to the shotguns, we have a Slugger, and as you can guess by the name, it shoots out a slug, single projectile, so you don't have to worry about your pellets not hitting the target. And because of that, I don't think it needs more damage, as every other shotgun in the game doesn't have a slug and shoots out pellets. So that would make a Slugger very good medium range shotgun, although there is one huge issue with it. Why for the love of liberty does it have 200% drag? Sure, you will reach the potential damage every time, but so does every other shotgun up close. That insane drag is really holding back the Slugger, so in my opinion, if it would be lowered to like 75%, it wouldn't be like a marksman rifle, but it would have a very unique niche of the medium range shotgun, and not just another medium pen shotgun which actually is just worse than any other shotgun in the game. Halt is another medium pen shotgun, and this one is actually very unique. It has 2 separate barrels, one with medium pen flechettes and the other one with light pen stun rounds. Each of the barrels have 8 shells in it, and it will have to be reloaded on its own. The stun rounds are actually quite strong, because with a single shot to the charger's butt, you can stun it. So why do I keep forgetting about such unique weapon? Well, probably because usually I have to force that switching barrel mechanic out of the gun. The flechettes are just so good that I don't need the stun rounds. I could just dump all of those 60 spare shells into the one barrel with the flechettes, and it would be great. And even if you're splitting the shells between the stun rounds and the flechettes, you effectively only have 30 shots per the barrel. And that's because they share the same ammo economy. Now, I wouldn't change that because I know that's the nature of this gun, but since you are using 2 separate barrels and the other one is overshadowed by the normal one, let's say, I think it should have more spare shells. I would crank it up to like 100 spare shells. It would be great and would make this gun more accessible, let's say, more convenient. Overall, it would make this gun a little bit better and seen by me, at least. That would be it for the primaries, and for the secondaries, first off is the Redeemer. Only automatic secondary that we have in this game, and it's not worth using. Just being automatic isn't enough, and that gun is insanely underwhelming. All you can really do is kill few light enemies and maybe 1 medium enemy per mag, and that's it. Not only its damage is low, but also the ammo economy is terrible. And since it's the only automatic secondary we have, it deserves better. What I would do for it would be increasing the damage by 10 to 85 and give it additional 2 mags, although this might not be enough for the Redeemer. But at least it would be something, and it would be better than as of right now, as now it cannot really save your butt, ever. Next up we have the Stun Lance, and Stun Lance was the very first melee weapon we ever got. And I really like melee. but the stun lance is the only melee secondary with a poking moveset, which means it attacks single enemy. And the stun lance isn't nearly strong enough to justify being able to hit only one thing at once, unlike the swipe moveset. You do get some extra range, but it's barely any, so doesn't really help. Also, it's a stun weapon, so it has less damage than a non-stun lance would do. Of course, stun makes melee easier, so that's good for people that don't usually do melee. But shovel and stun button also have stun, and if you know how to melee, you don't really need stun. Also, it's only form of stun that isn't a support. It only really helps you with meleeing easier. So, to learn melee, sure, but for that we also have other weapons, as the stun lance is the only poking, like I said. I think it's just the nature of this weapon that makes me forget about it, because, well, it's not worth it using the poking weapon as of right now. The swinging weapons are way better. I just prefer to use sword or the shovel or the hatchet, just not the stun lance. The stun lance is kinda pointless for me. And now we have the secondary that I genuinely don't know why am I forgetting it. It's the Dagger, a secondary version of the scythe, and seriously I don't have any freaking idea why I keep forgetting about it. I think it's just a trait of this weapon at this point. It's a good secondary, given the enemy isn't in your face. It does alright damage and sets the enemies on fire easily. Although scythes are pretty bad, but you can just use it in the third person. Though, having a 1.5x scope on it would be cool. But yeah, this one is just on me. I just keep forgetting this because yes, I don't know why. It's a good secondary. We have one throwable on this list too, the GSH39 shield. And why I forget about it is quite simple. I don't usually think of throwable as a defense. If I want a shield, I either bring the stratagem, shield generator relay, or the backpack with the shield. But the throwable shield is quite nice too. It does have a use and it's very good teamplay item. I for sure remind myself of it whenever there is a harder campaign, especially against the bots, which last time was probably Cis. So quite some time ago. For the buff, I think that since it cannot damage enemies or close spawners, you should have like 6 of them instead of just 4. Lastly, we have a support weapon, which is the Expandable Napalm. I like to call it Mini Orbital Napalm, as it can cover a large area inside napalm. Just like the EAT, it's a one-use rocket launcher. It can do numbers and it's cool to use, especially to its peak performance by shooting the wall and letting it cover a larger area. It really looks very nice, but it's also not anything wow in terms of efficiency. And that's pretty much why I don't use that. While it's not anything wow, it also has double the cooldown of the EATs. If it had the same cooldown as the expandable anti-tank, it would be way better and I would be actually using it way more often. There is just no point for this one to have that 120 seconds cooldown instead of the 70. Okay, so I think these are all the weapons that I keep forgetting about. Of course, there would be plenty more in terms of the stratagems, but when it comes to weapons, that would be it. As for how many weapons we have, that's not a lot. But of course, it's like not that these are all weapons that need buff. There is plenty more, but those weapons either did something or look good or something else that just makes me not forget about them. For example, Blitzer sucks ass, but because of it sucking ass that bad, I remember about it. But anyways, that's like obvious things. We'll be seeing each other in the next one. See ya, Helldivers.